and our tongues was really out through coming out of our mouths. And I know it's not nice to say, but we whittled in a tin and drunk it. We had to keep our mouths going. We had to whittle in an old rusty tin and drink it. And so they was there, but they in the first lot that they brought a tanker with salmon, and it was greasy water. So we heard they'd had bacon stew stuffed for their own soldiers, and then filled it up with water, and we had that drop of water just to drink, and that was all. But while I was there was a lot of us because there was a lot more all platoons there, and a lot of come out from Tobruk and all. It was all there, and I was up, and one come put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "Ted Smith, didn't you?" I said, "Aye." And he was a fellow from Broadwell, and I knowed him well, and he lived at Broadwell, and he was in the medical corps, and of course we followed up, and then we was taken then up to Tunisia, and we was put on boats and shipped over to Barry Island in Italy. And then we went from there to a little place called Capua, and then we went to a place called Benevento. And while we was there was at Benevento, we was on a slope in fields and in tents. And one morning at 3 o'clock, there was a heavy, thundery storm, and it just come. The tents went, our shoes, boots, everything went. We was just there as we'd been sleeping, and thunder and lightning. Terrible. The next morning we had to sort our boots out, which was there, and our bit of stuff, and a terrible night. We was there for a fortnight, and then we was taken to Solomona. We was there for 18 months. One time I had a letter from my mother and a parcel, and they were saying a cousin of mine that was lived down in Tredegar in Wales was a prisoner of war somewhere in Italy. And so one morning I went round these huts, and I was asking for Milson Harris. No, one said no, nobody they name. I went up 4 ones, and there was a fellow stood up at the door, and I said, I said, "What you want?" And he said, "I was inquiring about Milson Harris, a cousin of mine." "What you want him for?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to see him." And he said, "Well, he's down there on the left-hand side, down there bottom." So I went down and introduced me to him, and we had a natter. And I said, "Well, what's the matter with that fella?" He said him wanted to know everything. He said, "Well, you can see that stove in the middle of the hut," he said. "I'll be digging a tunnel underneath there." "Oh," he said. So he didn't say nothing. So we'd all wondered then how the dirt was beginning to come on little places round outside different hustling. And there was they asked the guards, the Italians, to get some plants, and they was putting plants in, and it was it. But they was, and these was getting the tins that we had in parcels and that, and that's how they was making their name. But anyway, it come one morning. There was something going on. The guards come all round, surrounded the place. They'd got right out under a wall, and they got out into a dirt road outside, and they was all getting ready to escape through there, when a horse and cart come and the wheels went down into this bit of a soft place. And of course they caught them. And of course the one that was in charge was an Australian officer, he was, but he was there as a private, like, sort of. And of course he was so upset, he tried to get up over the wires and they shot him. He was there. But the fellow, as I said, is from my village. He was the medical fellow there, and he had to go around for some of us got diabetic and one thing and another illnesses, had rice instead. But we only had a little loaf of bread, a little tiny cob, and a cup full of skilly. That's all we did have a day to live on. But he did have a little bit of rice over now and again. He said, "I'll give you a bit of rice when I come back." But he was the biggest fellow, so he had it himself. We had the parcels come and we did share up, me and my pal. And there was a notice up there saying, if any planes come over at all, we have all had to get into the huts. My mate from Bishop's Leave, he stopped out once and he was looking, and of course a guard caught him and put him in a shed, a small shed, where he went. And I had to take his bit of food in the evening time when we did have it, and that. So the guard did just come and just walk with me and see as I went in with it. So I went in one night and my mate came out. And I stopped in and he came out, because they called us the Terrible Twins, look. Well, the gates was left open one night and we had some parcels there, and we was pally with a fellow from Scotland, Jock McLean. He was a very religious fella, very nice fellow. So we seen the gates open and out we went, and we went off up over the mountains. We climbed all up over and went into a monastery. But when we went in, they turned us out. They wouldn't have us. So we had to come out. We went on up over the hills. We went up over the one hill, down. We was up the other one, and we only had that one to go, and another one which had been on the Adriatic coast where our troops was. But we got caught in the hills. So they took us all the way back down to the camp we was in. We ended up into Germany, into Nuremberg. And we was taken round the very back of a big compound place at the back. Well, we did there for a week, but in the days we did walk round, we did look through this, what's name, and it was a concentration camp, and we could see queues going into a place and sitting on like sort of a conveyor belt, and they walked, they went through, and the other side of the big compound, the wire, was a huge hole dug there, and lorries did come round, and that's what they was. We seen that going on for them days. And then one morning it was house, and I said to my mate, I said, well, I said, this is where we go round the other side. I said, this is where we depart. But anyway, they took us to Leipzig on a working party, and I didn't mind that. So we got into Leipzig, and we was on a working party there. Business people, like, well, come for 2 men, like, wanted 2 men to work. Well, the guard picked me and my mate out, and we went, and it was on a coal station, and there was a truck of coal, and we had to bag that up into bags, put on a trailer, on a lorry, a trailer at the back of that lorry, and another trailer at the back of that trailer, and we had to fill that up, and then we did go round with the German man, he was oldish man it was, and deliver the coal, and we'd go down into people's cellars and time. And then when it come dinner time, he'd lock us up in his home in a shed and give us a bucket of like pig potatoes. Some was good, some was bad, and a bit of salt on a bit of paper, and that's what we had out for our they gave us for our dinner, and then we'd go down. But that's and the old people, when we did go down, if the old ladies and that did get a chance, have a word. They didn't want war. They were just like my mother and father. They didn't want war at all, but it was pushed on. It was Hitler's tools, and that was it. And one old lady come out to me and she said, "You see this basket?" And I says, like in their word, this one. Or had that and full of notes, German notes, and the basket was worth more than what the notes was inside. But the old people was like our parents. They were very good to us, very good. Then we went on to a station, and it was the second largest station in the world, in Leipzig. When we'd go on the platform in the morning at 7:30, there was a row of trucks on the right-hand side, a row of trucks on the left. They did pull out these things and mark it, and every one trucks on the left-hand side, the doors was open, and then was numbered. So when they did pull it out, if it was going to Strasbourg, they'd put number 4. If it was going to Danzig or something like that, they'd put another 5 or 6 or something. They did whichever it was. We had to, as they did put it out onto the platform, we had to pick it up, say all 4s, and take down and put in 4s. Well, there was a lot of German equipment all put in there. Soldiers' kits. Instead of them taking them, they sent it by train. That. So instead of we putting it in number 4 or 6 where it had to go, we did put in another one. And there was a lot of guns equipment. We did jump on there in the mornings, and the German men who was working there did laugh, thinking we was playing soldiers, and we just nuts, boats and everything. In another what's the name was airplane engines, motor engines. We did up along there was. Like on our stations is boxes of sand in case of sand. We did get a handful, we'd go in and we'd put that down in the sump. Fortnight after we went to work there, Gestapos was there, 6 soldiers with rifles, and the Nazis was there, all waiting for us. They just found out what was going on, where it was coming, doing that. They put me with 6 more against the wall, and they was going to shoot us. Jack Day, one of our fellows, he could speak a bit of German, pretty good German, and he pleaded with them, until they let us off and pushed us off the station, not to go there again. Very, very lucky. Now my mate, one day there, we did go in a place and he'd put his eel in a parcel, and he found some biscuits. Well, he had a couple of biscuits, I had 3 or 4 biscuits, and in the back of our overcoats we put pockets right down the bottom, and we put them in there. Well, the guard seen my mate coming out and thought he seen his mouth going, look, stopped him, searched him, found these biscuits, never searched me, put him in prison, in Civvy prison. He was in there for 3 weeks. Mind, he looked poor when he came out, very well. We was in a camp in Ritzeneinerstraße, was a street, and then after we come out, of course they I think it was the 22nd of December 1943, they bombed Danzig, and then at night they brought over hundreds of planes and bombed Leipzig. Next morning they let us out. We was lucky. A factory was at the back of where we was, and it was bombed to pieces. We were very lucky there.